Welcome back, friends. It's time to talk about something big. Feeding the anxiety monster. My name is Amanda. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I love working with Christian women who struggle with anxiety because it's just so common. It is out there. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, but I do. So let's get into it. Okay, I told you guys a little bit about my bridge fear in the last video, but let me tell you more about it. So first of all, when I was young, I was so adventurous. I was truthfully reckless, and I had absolutely no fear in the world. I did a lot of crazy things, and I even said I wanted to be a stunt double at some point. I am not a stunt double. That dream did not work out, probably for the best. But as I got older, I started to get so much more cautious, and then little by little, cautious turned to fearful. So what used to be normal everyday things started to become things that I avoided at all costs. One of those things was heights. I suddenly didn't want to do it, right? And this is coming from someone who went skydiving for her 18th birthday. That's all I wanted to do was go skydiving, right? And now suddenly I could not even be bothered to go on the first step of a ladder. True story. I worked at a shoe store and I was always terrified of getting on the ladder to pull a shoe. I didn't want to get on the ladder, and then I didn't want to get on bridges. There was this bridge by my parents' house, and I noticed that every time I got on it, I tensed up. So what did I do? I didn't decide to stop taking the bridge, but one day I noticed I hadn't been on it in weeks, right? And this was when I was living with them, so I needed to take the bridge, but I was just taking another route home, even if it was going to take me a lot longer to get there. My body had found a way around the fear, and that is what I like to call feeding the anxiety monster. So here's the thing. When you avoid the things that bring anxiety, your body feels relieved. You get this, whew, that was so smart. I'm so glad I did that. I should probably do that again. I should probably skip the bridge, right? Or anything else that brings you that fear or anxiety. Your body gets that sense of relief because you avoided the danger. Is it dangerous? We'll talk about it in a second, but a lot of times it's not. A lot of times you get that feeling when it's avoiding a tough conversation, or maybe joining a small group at church, not going to a certain party, avoiding places where you'll have to see people that you're not crazy about, right? So there's lots of situations that you can avoid, and sometimes it's purely out of anxiety. And the thing is that a lot of times we can't avoid those things forever, right? Eventually you will be put in a situation where you can't avoid a crowd, or where you can't avoid a social setting. And not just that you can't, but that you're not supposed to, right? We are called to live in community and have relationships with one another. So if you are allowing anxiety to keep you from being in relationships with others, girl, let's call it right now. Now, pause with me here for a moment because this part is important. Sometimes God leads us away from a situation, and that is not fear, that's discernment. So what's the difference? Fear brings dread. Discernment brings peace. Discernment says, this isn't the right time. Fear says, I can't handle this. Discernment feels safe and grounded. Fear feels out of control. Ask yourself, do I feel peace from God or panic from anxiety? That question can change everything. So how do we stop feeding the anxiety monster? First, we have to have that awareness. Think about the things that you've been avoiding or the things that you have been running to. Sometimes it's easier to start there. When do I find myself being drawn to scroll on social media? When do I find myself canceling plans? And start taking small steps to work on that avoidance. The important part here is that you are asking yourself, check in. Maybe it's every step. Do I feel peace about this? Do I feel fear about this? Do I feel peace about this? God is not expecting perfection. He's expecting progress, right? Effort. And that can only come when you are closely following Him. And the more that you follow Him, that anxiety monster will get smaller and smaller because we're not feeding it anymore. Fear does not get the final say in your life, and anxiety does not define your future. Ask yourself, what have you been avoiding? What have you been rerouting your life around? And what is one small step that you can take to turn towards it with Jesus by your side? Next time, we'll talk more about the spiritual tools that God has already placed by your side. You're already growing. Keep going. I'll see you guys next time.